January 28, 1943. Stalingrad. Senior Sergeant Yakov Pavlichenko lies motionless in the rubble of what was once an apartment building, his Mosin-Nagant rifle trained on a gap between two collapsed walls 400 meters distant. He's been in this position for 6 hours, waiting for a German sniper who's killed 3 Soviet soldiers in the past 2 days. The temperature hovers at -18 degrees Celsius. Frost has formed inside his scope. His fingers, wrapped in strips of cloth inside leather gloves, have lost most feeling. Through his scope, he watches the suspected sniper position, a dark shadow in a shell-blasted window frame. But here's the problem that's killing Soviet snipers by the dozens. If Pavlichenko shifts even slightly to get a better angle, the movement will give away his position. If he stays perfectly still, he can't see the approach angles the German might use to flank him. Soviet sniper doctrine teaches patience, stillness, and waiting for the perfect shot. What it doesn't teach is how to survive when your enemy has figured out your doctrine and is hunting you while you hunt him. The German sniper, somewhere in that maze of ruins, has the advantage. He knows Soviet snipers work from static positions, that they prioritize concealment over mobility, that once committed to a hide, they rarely relocate until after taking their shot. This makes them predictable. This makes them dead. What the German doesn't know is that Pavlichenko spent last night violating every regulation in the Soviet sniper manual, creating a modification his instructors would call reckless, his commanders would call unsanctioned, and his fellow snipers would call stupid. A modification involving a 10-centimeter square of broken mirror, some wire, and an idea that will triple his effectiveness and revolutionize Soviet sniper tactics for the remainder of the war. This is the story of innovation born from desperation, the sniper who refused to die by doctrine, and the stupid mirror trick that wasn't stupid at all. To understand why Pavlichenko's innovation proved revolutionary, you need to understand just how badly Soviet snipers were losing the invisible war in Stalingrad's ruins. When the Wehrmacht crashed into Stalingrad in August 1942, both sides recognized immediately that traditional warfare had become impossible. The city's destruction created a nightmarish landscape of rubble fields, skeletal buildings, and 1,000 lines of sight. Infantry advances became suicide. Artillery proved ineffective against entrenched defenders. The battle devolved into something more personal, brutal, close-quarters combat where snipers became the primary killers. The Germans arrived with a significant advantage. Wehrmacht sniper training emphasized adaptability, aggressive tactics, and what they called movement discipline, the ability to relocate frequently while maintaining concealment. German snipers worked in pairs, used decoys, and understood that a successful sniper survived by never staying in the same position after taking a shot. They carried compact equipment, favored lower magnification scopes that provided wider fields of view, and treated sniper work as fluid reconnaissance rather than static ambush. Soviet doctrine took the opposite approach. Sniper training emphasized patience above all else. Soviet marksmen learned to occupy carefully prepared positions, remain motionless for hours, and wait for perfect shot opportunities. This worked reasonably well during the initial German advance when Soviet snipers could engage from prepared defensive positions with clear fields of fire. But in Stalingrad's chaos, where front lines changed hourly and no position remained secure for long, this static doctrine became fatal. The mathematics told the story. Between September and December 1942, German snipers in Stalingrad achieved an average of 11.3 kills per sniper before being killed or wounded. Soviet snipers averaged 4.7 kills. The Germans were winning the sniper war more than 2-1. Soviet commanders recognized the problem but struggled to develop solutions. They increased sniper training duration, distributed better camouflage materials, and emphasized the importance of shot discipline. None of it addressed the fundamental issue. Soviet snipers couldn't see threats developing outside their immediate field of view without moving, and movement meant death. Yakov Pavlichenko understands this reality through brutal experience. Born in a village outside Kiev in 1920, he works as a machinist before the war. Nothing exceptional, no military family tradition, just a young man with steady hands and good eyesight who gets selected for sniper training in early 1942. The instructors at the training school outside Moscow teach him everything. How to estimate range by comparing target size to scope reticles, how to account for wind drift and bullet drop, how to construct concealed positions using local materials, how to remain motionless until the perfect moment. What they don't teach him is how to deal with the fundamental vulnerability every sniper faces. Tunnel vision. A sniper scope magnifies the target beautifully. The PE4 power scope on Pavlichenko's Mosin Nagant provides clear identification out to 600 meters, allowing precise shot placement on human-sized targets. But magnification comes with a price. The scope's field of view narrows to just 9 degrees. While Pavlichenko focuses on a target 400 meters ahead, he has virtually no awareness of his flanks, his rear or alternative approach routes an enemy might use. He's like a man peering through a pipe, seeing one small circle of the world with perfect clarity while everything outside that circle disappears. Soviet doctrine addresses this vulnerability with spotters. Two-man sniper teams, one shooting while the other observes with binoculars, watching for threats and selecting targets. In theory, this works perfectly. In practice, in Stalingrad's meat grinder where units get separated, reinforcements arrive without proper organization, and half the trained snipers die in their first week. Pavlichenko often works alone. Even when spotters are available, they face the same problem. They can watch the front and flanks, but they can't watch everywhere simultaneously. German snipers exploit this ruthlessly. After his third week in Stalingrad, Pavlichenko has 3 confirmed kills and 2 close calls that should have killed him. The first comes when a German sniper approaches from behind his position, while Pavlichenko focuses on a machine gun nest. Pure luck saves him. A Soviet infantryman stumbles into the area. The German shoots the infantryman instead, and the muzzle flash reveals his position. Pavlichenko relocates and survives. The second near-death arrives when Pavlichenko occupies what seems like a perfect position in a collapsed factory, excellent sight lines, good cover, multiple escape routes. He doesn't realize the Germans have ranged that exact position previously. Mortar rounds bracket his location within minutes of his first shot. He escapes through a drainage pipe, but the message is clear. Static positions equal death. That night, January 27, 1943, Pavlichenko sits in a basement with other survivors from his unit, cleaning his rifle by candlelight. Someone mentions that German snipers seem to have eyes everywhere, that they always know where Soviet snipers hide, that fighting them feels impossible. Another soldier jokes bitterly that they need eyes in the backs of their heads. The comment triggers something in Pavlichenko's mind. Eyes in the back of his head. Not literally, but functionally. What if he could see behind himself while maintaining his scope view forward? The basement contains debris from the building's previous occupants. Pavlichenko finds a broken hand mirror, perhaps 10 centimeters square, the silvering partially degraded but still reflective. He holds it up, angles it, and realizes he can see the rubble-strewn street behind him while looking forward. It's crude, distorted, but it's vision where none existed before. The idea that follows is absurdly simple. If he could mount this mirror to his rifle or position, angled to provide a view of his rear approach while he maintains his forward scope view, he'd eliminate his most critical vulnerability. He could watch for flanking movements, spot German counter-snipers maneuvering, and maintain awareness of his entire environment without breaking his shooting position. The mirror wouldn't give him perfect vision, but it would transform him from a man looking through a pipe into a man with peripheral awareness. Pavlichenko spends an hour that night fabricating his modification. He uses wire salvaged from destroyed vehicles to create a simple bracket. The mirror mounts to his rifle stock, positioned left of the scope, angled at roughly 45 degrees upward and backward. When he looks through his scope, the mirror sits in his peripheral vision, reflecting the area behind and to his left. It's not perfect. The reflection is dim, distorted by the mirror's poor quality, and covers only a limited arc. But it's something. More importantly, he can adjust the mirror's angle by bending the wire mounting, allowing him to customize the field of view based on his position and the tactical situation. The modification is completely unauthorized. Soviet military regulations prohibit soldiers from modifying weapons without armorer approval. The rifle is state property, and alterations could theoretically affect its function, though Pavlichenko's mirror mounting touches nothing mechanical. More significantly, the mirror could potentially create reflection flashes that give away his position. A piece of glass catching sunlight at the wrong angle could be as deadly as standing up and waving. Pavlichenko considers this risk carefully. He decides the mirror's value outweighs the danger. He can control its angle, keep it shaded, and in Stalingrad's perpetual haze of smoke and dust, reflection risks seem minimal. January 28, his first day using the modification. Pavlichenko occupies a position in the rubble at dawn, settles into his shooting stance, and adjusts his mirror to cover his rear left quadrant, the direction German countersnipers most frequently use to approach Soviet positions based on his observations. For the first hour, nothing happens. He watches his target zone through his scope, occasionally glancing at the mirror. The reflected view is murky, difficult to interpret, but gradually his brain adapts, learning to process the mirror image as naturally as his direct vision. At 08:45 hours, movement in the mirror catches his attention. A figure moving between rubble piles, roughly 80 meters behind his position, approaching carefully. Through his scope, Pavlichenko maintains his forward observation, but his peripheral vision tracks the reflected figure. The movement pattern is wrong for a Soviet soldier. Too deliberate, too cautious, the behavior of a man hunting rather than simply moving through terrain. Pavlichenko faces a critical decision. His doctrine says maintain position, wait for the perfect front-facing shot. His instinct says the figure in the mirror is a German sniper moving to flank him, and if he doesn't act, he'll be dead within minutes. He slowly rotates his body, moving with glacial patience that takes 3 full minutes to complete a 90-degree turn. His scope settles on the area his mirror showed. The German sniper is there, 40 meters closer now, rifle raised, scanning the rubble where Pavlichenko was just facing. Pavlichenko fires. The German drops. His first kill using the mirror system is actually a save. The German was seconds from identifying Pavlichenko's position and taking the shot himself. The mirror gave Pavlichenko awareness he shouldn't have had and survival he didn't deserve by conventional doctrine. Over the next week, Pavlichenko refines his technique. He experiments with mirror positioning, testing different angles for different scenarios. He discovers that mounting the mirror slightly forward of his scope position gives him better peripheral integration. He learns to scan the mirror every few seconds rather than staring at it continuously, developing a rhythm where his eyes shift from scope to mirror to scope in a continuous loop that maintains both focused observation and environmental awareness. He realizes he can position himself in locations previously too dangerous because the mirror coverage eliminates blind spots that would make those positions suicidal. His kill rate increases dramatically. In his first 3 weeks using conventional methods, 3 confirmed kills. In his second 3 weeks using the mirror system, 9 confirmed kills. More importantly, he survives multiple situations where German snipers attempt to flank him. The mirror gives him advance warning, allowing him to either relocate or reposition to engage the threat. What his commanders notice is that Pavlichenko stops losing duels with German snipers. Soviet sniper doctrine accepts that roughly 30% of engagements result in the Soviet sniper being killed or wounded. Pavlichenko's survival rate climbs to 95%. February 14, 1943, a Soviet sniper instructor named Captain Dmitry Volkov arrives in Stalingrad to assess why casualty rates among snipers remain catastrophically high. He interviews surviving marksmen, observes their tactics, and eventually reaches Pavlichenko's unit. When Volkov inspects Pavlichenko's rifle and discovers the mirror modification, his reaction is immediate and hostile. "What is this?" Volkov demands, pointing at the mirror assembly. "A situational awareness aid, Comrade Captain." Pavlichenko keeps his voice neutral. "You modified state property without authorization. This is a violation of military regulations. More importantly, this mirror could reflect light and compromise your position. Did your training teach you nothing about concealment discipline?" "My training taught me to survive, Comrade Captain. The mirror helps me survive." Volkov's face reddens. "Your training taught you doctrine developed by experts who understand sniper warfare far better than one sergeant with some wire and broken glass. Remove this modification immediately." But here, Pavlichenko does something unusual. He doesn't argue doctrine or regulations. He pulls out a notebook where he's been tracking his performance metrics. Carefully recorded data showing his kill numbers, survival rate, and comparative effectiveness before and after implementing the mirror system. He presents this data to Captain Volkov without commentary, letting the numbers speak. Volkov studies the notebook for several minutes. His expression shifts from anger to confusion to grudging interest. "These numbers are accurate? You're claiming 9 kills in 3 weeks? Confirmed by my unit commander, Comrade Captain. Before the mirror, I averaged 1 kill per week and nearly died twice. After the mirror, 3 kills per week and no close calls from flanking attacks." Volkov looks from the notebook to the mirror to Pavlichenko. "Show me how it works." They spend the next hour in a relatively secure observation position, where Pavlichenko demonstrates the mirror's utility. He shows how the peripheral reflection provides awareness without requiring movement, how the mounting allows angle adjustment for different tactical situations, how the distorted reflection is actually easier to monitor than clear glass because it draws less focus from the primary scope view. Volkov, despite his initial hostility, is experienced enough to recognize effectiveness when he sees it. "This violates regulations," Volkov says finally, "but regulations exist to maximize effectiveness, not to get our snipers killed. I'm authorizing field implementation on an experimental basis. You'll train 5 other snipers in this technique. We'll track their performance over 2 weeks. If results match your data, we'll develop official doctrine." What follows is an improvised training program that would never appear in official Red Army records. Pavlichenko teaches mirror mounting, angle selection, and the scanning rhythm that allows simultaneous scope observation and peripheral mirror awareness. The other snipers, initially skeptical, adapt quickly once they experience the tactical advantage. Within days, all 5 achieve their first mirror-assisted kills. More significantly, all 5 survive encounters with German countersnipers that would likely have killed them using conventional static positioning. The results prove undeniable. Across 2 weeks, the 6 Soviet snipers using mirror systems achieve a combined 31 confirmed kills with 0 fatalities. Their German counterparts, using conventional hunting techniques, claim 18 Soviet kills but lose 4 snipers to the mirror-equipped Soviet marksmen who spot flanking attempts before they develop. By March 1943, word spreads through Soviet sniper units in Stalingrad. The mirror trick becomes an open secret, with experienced snipers fabricating their own modifications using salvaged materials. Soviet commanders, pragmatic men who care more about results than regulations, quietly authorized the modification as a field expedient adaptation. It never receives an official designation or appears in training manuals, but it becomes standard practice among Soviet urban snipers. The tactical implications extend beyond individual survival. German snipers, accustomed to flanking Soviet positions with relative impunity, suddenly face effective countermeasures. The Wehrmacht's 2-to-1 kill ratio advantage in sniper engagements evaporates. By April 1943, Soviet and German sniper effectiveness reaches near parity. The Germans adapt by becoming even more cautious, which reduces their aggressiveness, which reduces their effectiveness. The mirror trick creates a cascading tactical shift that transforms urban sniper warfare. Pavlichenko continues fighting through Stalingrad's final weeks, eventually achieving 23 confirmed kills before the German surrender in February 1943. He survives the battle, survives the war, and returns to civilian life in 1946. The Red Army awards him the Order of the Red Star for exceptional service, though the citation makes no mention of mirrors or unauthorized modifications. He works as a factory foreman in Kiev, raises 3 children, and rarely discusses the war beyond acknowledging he served as a sniper. In 1967, a Soviet military historian researching sniper tactics during the Great Patriotic War discovers references to mirror-assisted aiming systems used at Stalingrad. He tracks down Pavlichenko, now 47 years old, and asks about the innovation. Pavlichenko's response is characteristically modest. "I didn't invent anything. I just refused to die because doctrine said I couldn't watch my back and my front simultaneously. The mirror let me do both. Anyone could have thought of it. But that's precisely the point. Anyone could have thought of it, but only Pavlichenko did." Thousands of Soviet snipers faced the same tactical problems, the same doctrine limitations, the same catastrophic casualty rates. Only one of them looked at a broken mirror and saw a solution instead of trash. Only one of them had the audacity to violate regulations, the skill to implement a practical modification, and the discipline to prove its effectiveness through careful documentation. The mirror trick never becomes official Soviet doctrine. It remains a field expedient adaptation that experienced snipers pass to new recruits through informal training. But its influence extends far beyond Stalingrad. Soviet urban warfare tactics throughout 1943 and 1944 incorporate the lesson that static positioning equals death and that situational awareness matters more than perfect concealment. Modern sniper training emphasizes maintaining environmental awareness, using technology like rearview optics and partner communication to eliminate blind spots. The principle Pavlichenko proved with broken glass and wire, that a sniper's deadliest vulnerability is what he cannot see, becomes foundational doctrine. Yakov Pavlichenko dies in 1989, 2 years before the Soviet Union collapses. His obituary mentions his military service in a single sentence. World War II veteran, decorated sniper. It doesn't mention that he saved his own life and potentially dozens of others with a stupid mirror trick that wasn't stupid at all. It doesn't mention that while officers debated doctrine and training standards, a sergeant with a piece of broken glass solved a problem they couldn't. Because the greatest tactical innovations rarely come from headquarters planning sessions or official research programs. They come from soldiers who refuse to accept that there's no solution, who improvise with whatever materials they find, and who understand that survival matters more than regulations. Sometimes the most sophisticated answer to a complex problem is a 10 cm square of salvaged mirror and the courage to use it.